All right, folks, what's going on? This is episode 657 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. We're going to jump over and talk some Atlanta Falcons. I know there's a lot of talk about Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern started off on a great note this season, beating, the Citadel, and the ticket prices went down for a portion of today. So if you wanted to get to the UAB or the Coastal Carolina game, you had a chance to get tickets for $34 because 34-0 was a shutout. And that was a really cool thing that the ticket office done. That was pretty dope. But nevertheless, we're going to get back to Georgia Southern and when they go up against UAB later on this week. We're going to get to that later on, in the week as it gets closer. But right now, let's talk some Atlanta Falcons. Give those give those fans and that team some love. And talk about the depth chart. The depth chart was officially released, and I think this is not much of a surprise, but Bijan Robinson is running back number one. And it's really interesting how this is set up because the depth chart is slightly different than what it was last year. So we'll talk about that, give you my thoughts and opinions on all of that. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I can also be found on Twitter or X at VF Baller. Over there, I talk about things that don't really make it to the show. And the website is firstandframerates.com. Once again, I want to thank you guys for tremendous support. I mean, you guys are amazing, growing the channel, letting people know what's going on over here. And the viewership and the listenership is absolutely amazing. For the first part of the season. Hopefully it continues to grow as we try to get to 2,000 plus subscribers. So let's go ahead and get into it, and let's talk about the depth chart. Not just talk about the show, let's talk about the depth chart. Off the rip, you kind of see what is different if you're looking at this on the screen. One thing that definitely stands out is the right tackle position. We don't have anybody to back up Caleb McGarry. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Maybe some things will change between now and, Sunday. But that's one thing that stood out when I first looked at this. And also, look like we're going with a 2 tight end set. This is something that Coach Arthur Smith has been trying to get to for the past 2.5 years. Now, with Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts on the outside of the 2 tight end set, you're going to have Drake London and Mac Hollins at wide receiver. Now, this is going to create a nightmare matchup for a lot of people. I mean, you got 4 guys that can actually, pretty much manhandle anybody that they go up against. I mean, these are big physical receivers that the defensive backs are going to be going up against. Also, what has been missing is the slot receiver. Olamide Zacchaeus was the guy that was the slot guy, and actually was going to use Jared Bernhardt as well at one point, and we actually thought Scotty Miller was going to be that guy as well when he was brought in. But if you look at this depth chart, the depth chart basically shows that there's going to be a 2 tight end set and a 2 wide receiver set. So the run game is going to flourish in this situation because there's too many guys that can block everybody from one wide receiver to the other, from Drake London to Jonnu Smith throughout the entire offensive line, all the way to Kyle Pitts and Mac Hollins can block. So guess who's going to eat off of this? Bijan Robinson is going to eat tremendously off of this setup. Then he's going to be running back number 1. Now, what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that Tyler Algier, honestly, he's the backup, and Cordell Patterson is in he's in a peculiar position. If anyone knows what this says on the screen, what is J as far as the positioning on offense? Because we pretty much eliminated the fullback. Fullback is not on the field, and Cordell Patterson is listed as J. I don't know what that is, but that is really awesome because that is another big physical presence on the team. Now, one thing that is a little bit different from what Coach Clay Helton is doing, Coach Arthur Smith is getting just football players on the field, and he wants guys who can do a little bit of everything. Like I said, everybody from wide receiver to wide receiver can block. Cordell Patterson is the J. I don't know if that's J back or fullback. I don't know what that is, but that position basically is going to be a position where he's going to be running out of the backfield, catching balls, in the slot and probably be on the outside as well. Because Cordell Patterson can do a little bit of everything. And it looked like they found the spot for him. So that's really neat. But one thing that is really cool. One, Matt Bergeron is a rookie that's going to get the starting left guard position because Matt Hennessy went down. But Bijan Robinson is running back number 1. Now, what does that tell you? Now, it tells you that Tyler Algier is still going to get carries. He's going to be the thunder to Bijan Robinson's lightning. And don't get it twisted. It's not like he's going to be sitting on the sideline because we saw how this went last year when you had Caleb Huntley and Tyler Algier. Both of those guys ate tremendously. But Bijan Robinson is going to be the feature back. Now, Bijan Robinson is poised to probably get at least 1,500 all-purpose yards. I can see him getting that in this setup. Like I said, you got guys that are 6'4", 6'2", or better that is going to be blocking anybody and everybody in their way. And even if they don't decide to run the ball a lot, they got pass catchers, and it all goes back to Desmond Ridder. So now let's go down this depth chart, and you see who QB1 is. It's going to be obviously Desmond Ridder. You got Taylor Heineke and Logan Woodside. So I love this offensive setup. I love it. This offensive setup is really, really awesome to see. I am a big fan of it, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to be implemented when they play against the Carolina Panthers. The way this look like, and I know I'm a homer, I am a very biased person when it comes to the Falcons, but you got to be honest, this is a very difficult setup for anybody to play, to go up against. And you got guys like Drake London, who was poised to get 1,000 yards, especially when you saw what he was able to do with Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. If Desmond Ridder was a quarterback the entire season, or you had a competent quarterback the entire season, Drake London would have been over 1,000 yards easily. I mean, he almost had 1,000 yards with a run-first offense. Mac Hollins is known that he can catch the ball and run block. Kyle Pitts had 1,000-yard season when he was healthy. And you know what Jonnu Smith is capable of doing. So you got weapons all over the place. And I didn't even talk about Cordell Patterson, his catching ability. Tyler Algier is going to be a thumper, and he can catch a little bit too. And Bijan Robinson can do a little bit of everything. So there's really no excuse for Desmond Ridder to be bad. A lot of people are kind of rooting for Desmond Ridder to not be the quarterback that we need him to be. But with this setup, this works out for everybody. Kudos to Coach Arthur Smith. Phenomenal job with what he's done with this team. Year 3 is the first year, in my opinion, that they get what they want, and you see what it is. I'm still a little worried about nobody at right tackle. I don't know how that's going to actually play out. We need to get somebody there. Now, let's look at the defense before we close this out. The defense, Grady Jarrett, David Adamaya, and Calais Campbell is going to be the defensive linemen. You got four linebackers, Bud Dupree, Honor Ebiketie on the outside, Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson on the inside. You got some rotational guys coming in with Zach Harrison. You got Lorenzo Carter, Nate Lamb, and Tay Davis. Let me tell you something. These 8 linebackers are going to be rotating in and out, and it's going to be a phenomenal thing to see. I can't wait to see how this plays out because that is a lot of talent out of those four positions at linebacker. Now, defensive lineman, I would like to see a little bit of Taquan Graham to come in and Zach Harrison. I believe that they're going to be getting some moves as well, especially with Calais Campbell being up there in age more. So he's not going to be on every down. I would not be surprised if they try to sneak Zach Harrison in there every now and then on pass rush situations, because he's shown that he could do some things in the pass rush. When it comes to the safeties and the cornerbacks, you got AJ Terrell, CB1, Jeff Okudah, which is actually surprising. Jeff Okudah is CB2. I wonder what the injury reports will look like. Is he going to be ready to go for week 1? I don't think he will be, because I haven't heard anything. If you guys know, let me know, because I haven't heard anything. So as of right now, he's going to be CB2 with Mike Hughes and Trey Flowers behind those two guys. Then you got Jesse Bates and Richie Grant at safety, and you got Jalen Hawkins behind Jesse Bates and DeMarco Hellmans behind Richie Grant. This right here is going to be really interesting to see. Richie Grant and DeMarco Hellmans, Hellams. I keep calling Hellmans. Hellams. How is that going to play out? Is there going to be any type of rotation? because he's going to be hard to keep off the field. I like Richie Grant, but it's going to be really hard to keep DeMarco off the field. And Nickelback is D. Alford, and Clark Phillips is behind D. Alford, which is another situation right now. I like D. Alford, but it's going to be really hard to keep Clark Phillips off the field. That is something, if you want to watch anything this entire season, watch and see what those two rookies do throughout the season, because it's going to be difficult to keep those guys off the field in my opinion. I expect Helms and Phillips play a lot of special teams to see how well they develop throughout the season. Special teams is no secret here. You kind of see what's going on here. You got Young Wei Koo as the kicker, Bradley Pinion at punter, Liam McCullum at long snapper. Basically is basically what it was throughout preseason. Bradley Pinion is the H-back. I think that's H-back. And you also have the punt returners, D. Alford and Mike Hughes, and kickoff is Cordell Patterson. It's really interesting. They still got Cordell Patterson back there at kickoffs. I mean, he's really good at it, but I would have thought they would have put somebody else back there. But I'm not complaining. It is what it is. He does a great job at that. So that's basically what it is. This is your depth chart. Bijan Robinson is I'm not QB. He is running back number 1. It's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to distribute the ball with all of these guys and how he's going to be used. Like I said, I think Bijan Robinson, he's poised to get 1,500 yards, all purpose. And I mean, that's just the minimum. I think the sky's the limit for this kid in this offense. And with so many other weapons around him, you can't just hone in on him. And when you don't hone in on him, you worry about somebody else, he's going to hurt you in the long run. So it's just going to be really interesting to see. I can't wait. We'll talk about them going up against the Carolina Panthers throughout this week. We'll get closer to that, give you my thoughts and opinions on those on the later episodes. So if you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about this depth chart. What do you think about Bijan Robinson being a running back 1? What do you think about the defense? What do you think about not having a right tackle right now? Will that change? What the injury report is going to look like? Does Jeff Okudah comes back? What do you think? It's all up in the air, to be honest. Even though this is the official depth chart, I don't know what to think at the end of the day. I like it. I'm actually excited, but those missing pieces is something to think about. The unknowns is something to think about. So I can be found on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, also on YouTube and Rumble. You can find me over there. Hit the like button. Let people know what we're doing over here. Share this podcast. I really appreciate all the support. I cannot thank you guys enough. And I'm going to get up out of here, and I'm going to be working on some UAB stuff because we're going up against UAB. Hopefully we'll be able to dissect what they did or didn't do. And hopefully we'll be able to come home with a victory on that one. As well as the Falcons. Hope they come home with a victory against the Carolina Panthers. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. All right, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.